So in today's video, I'm actually going to interview my client Logan. Now, once he did jump into my mentorship program, Logan went from 0 to his first 10K month within 90 days, which is exactly what I want for all of my clients that decide to come and work with me one-on-one. Now, Logan shares a lot of great insights and tips and strategies within this interview, and I'm really looking forward to you guys watching it. So let's get into it.
It all started whenever I did door-to-door sales over the summer. And so I did that and I made some money after doing that, but I wanted to do something more accessible, something a little bit, like more like remote. I came across Amazon FBA, and it was because I was wanting to get into wholesaling real estate with this guy that I knew that did it. And then I got on a call with him and said, you should actually do Amazon since you already have the capital. So I was like, okay, so let's try this Amazon thing. I joined his course, but it was like a YouTube course or something like that. Like it wasn't really like informative. Like I didn't really have like a sense of direction like after I, jumped on it. And so that led me to just like look up YouTube videos about how to because it was originally like wholesale, like what I was gonna do. And I was like, how do I, like what what can I do to find suppliers and stuff like that? And then I came across your videos about using Keepa and, SellerAmp and all these like other tools I haven't heard about. I'm like, what the heck? And so I just started watching your videos and then learning more. And I was like, this guy actually sounds like he knows like what he's doing. And because you at that point I knew that you were selling for like since like 2018, right? It was something like that. You've been selling for a while. So like, okay, this guy like knows like what's up. And so then I just kind of made the decision. I was like, I need to like learn from him because I feel like that's going to be the difference maker between me making it and me not. So from that point, I just joined your course, watched videos, and like from there, I just kept like having like realizations like, oh my God, like I'm actually like learning a lot more than I thought I did or I thought I needed to. And then that just, rippled, and here we are now.
Yeah, and what's your highest rolling 30 days? The one you just sent me over?
Right now, whenever I sent you over, it was like 10 and a half or 10.1, but now I'm at 11.3
Nice,
as
nice.
of right now at 12 p.m. So I expect it to be, I'll probably hit 10K or 12K by the end of like the month of April. Just because I got a lot of time left in the month. So
Yeah, and I saw that like the beginning of the month the sales were a little bit lower and then they started ramping up. So I think the same thing. At least 12K for sure. When you started working with me, I don't remember exactly like your timeline. Did we start you off with wholesale or did we start you off with arbitrage?
it was yeah, arbitrage. Yeah.
Arbitrage? Okay. Yeah, so then you were able to flip your money quicker. And I honestly I think that's the path. It's like let's get you getting some wins. Let's get you building momentum. Let's get you flipping your money a little bit quicker and then we transition over into wholesale. But what was like the big factor that made you decide to start working with us?
It was mainly finding security in how much you knew because it with the other guy I learned from, it was more like he just kind of like it seemed like he was like re-saying what other people have said, and it's just like he's like regurgitating like stuff that he's already heard and not like from experience. And then when I listened to
Mhm.
you, you just had like this like sense of like knowledge that like I was like, oh wow, like this guy like actually knows like what he's doing. And so I was like, I have to I have to learn from this guy.
I know you took advantage of the one-on-one mentorship quite a bit. Just just so we can put that out there, is the one-on-one mentorship legit, or are you joining the program and then you never hear from me again, like a lot of people do? Because I've been getting that a lot. Like people are so skeptical, and I get it. Like there's so many people selling programs, coaching, mentorships, and then they join and they never hear from the creator. They never hear from anybody, and it's like very like one-off messages here and there. Like, can you just tell the people how does the one-on-one mentorship work and how much did you take advantage of it? How much did it help you?
Yeah, there is, and I mean this when I say this, there was never a time that I texted you and you never responded, and that's just, and that helped a lot. And obviously I took full advantage of that because you also do product double checks where I'm like, I sent you literally every product I could find. And because if it's going to be available, I'm going to use it. And, and you always responded. You always, you showed me like what good products are and what's not, and if it's a good buy or if it's not, and like every single product I found. So it was great.
Yeah, and that's how it should be, dude. If you're gonna pay for service, it's like, and I get this a lot too. It's like when people join, it's like, oh, I'm gonna annoy you with all these questions. It's like you literally can't annoy me unless you're asking a million questions and then not implementing, or where you're asking me a million questions and then 3 months later you're asking me the same questions, which tells me you're not doing the work, right? It's like for me, it's like this is the part that I find fulfilling. Is like, okay, we get a client, we help them, they have a bunch of questions, okay, but then they go on and then they do numbers like you just hit 11K and that's like you should 100%, if you're going to pay for a service, it's like you should 100% take advantage of it. Would you say your biggest problem coming into the course was just knowledge, or what was like the thing that was holding you back from hitting that 10K on your own?
It was mainly just knowledge because I had like the work ethic. I wanted to succeed and I just kind of committed. I was like, I'm just gonna do this until I figure it out. Yeah, it was just after like learning, I'm like, okay, like now I know what to do and I feel like more confident in my choices. And now I'm just, buying after finding a product like 5 minutes later. It's like a lot
Mhm.
easier now.
Let's dive into that a little bit because in the beginning of the call, which we didn't catch, you were saying that it's so easy for you to find products now. But in the beginning, just like everybody else, like you went through your struggles where you're like, you messaged me, you're like, dude, I'm just not finding enough, or I'm having trouble finding this or that. Like I'm having trouble essentially scaling up to that first 10K. Was there a moment where things just clicked for you, or
Yeah, I what really clicked for me was first of all finding like good websites. Like I don't know if people even know this is a thing, but there are websites that have evergreen coupons, which is like a site that has coupons that work 100% of the time, if not like 90% of the time. So it's like most of the year, this website has the same discounts. So if you find those websites, you can exploit that to the absolute max. And then the other thing after, and that's just like trial and error and like, looking for them. And then what like the biggest jump for me was getting ungated in Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. Like I just like submitted over and over and over again and it just worked eventually. And then as soon as I was ungating those things, I just found so it's like it was an explosion. I just found so much so easily. And it was like, yeah, it was insane.
yeah, I've always found that to be the case too. It's like don't get caught up in just ungating and then like stay stuck in there. But it's like, yeah, for sure, if you're gonna go into a niche, like let's say shoes and apparel, and you get ungated, you have to get ungated in those brands if you're gonna go into that niche. And it's like every time you get ungated, it's essentially just like so many doors open for you. But I think a lot of times when people like for you, you were putting in the reps. Like I knew you were putting in the work. Sometimes a lot of people will go and get ungated in Nike, Under Armour, all that stuff, but they never even have done product research. So then the opportunities aren't going to be as big as like the opportunities for you. Like you've been doing product research for a while, you've been like putting those reps in, and then once you get that door open, it's like, well, now I can take full advantage of that.
100%, yeah. And you get to a point like whenever you get more like advanced, you can start manually sourcing like websites, and then it's just like with the reason why a lot of people say manual sourcing is like harder and like not really for beginners is because you have to know like what products could be good on Amazon. Like for Nike, like you have to know like what Nike shoes are actually selling on Amazon and which aren't because then you're just wasting time.
You're completely right. Like I completely agree about manual sourcing. Like manual sourcing is tough. Even KPF is tough. Like all of those different sourcing methods are harder because you don't know what makes a good product, right? Like even now, like I've kind of had this evolution with the way that I teach people. It's like we started with only wholesale, and then I was like, okay, once we started introducing more of the arbitrage aspect of things, it's like, well, there's so many advantages to starting with arbitrage before you get into wholesale because before you go and drop 5, 10, 15K on a product, you don't even know what a good product looks like on Amazon, right? So it's like arbitrage and storefront stocking gives you so many reps that you're like, okay, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good. And then you get to points like you're like, oh, I'm able to find products in like 5 minutes. Would you say that your primary like sourcing method is storefront stocking or manual sourcing, or what's your like primary way of finding products?
Recently, I've really been in love with KPF. I've been doing that a lot. And then also manual sourcing if I know there's a big like website seller going on, because if there's like a website sale, like I'm gonna manual source that. But there's like nothing really going on. It's just like an average day. Like I'll KPF and just use like all like the filters and just see what I can find. And then usually I find stuff pretty fast doing that too.
How long did it take you to hit your first 10K? Because I think I went back to your account. I think it was like 3, 4 months that you joined.
Yeah, it was like 3 months. The first month, it wasn't like really any progress. And then like the second, I hit like 6K, I think. And then, or I don't know, maybe like four. And then there's like a little progress. There's like a 2K month and then 6K. And then this month, which is, I'm at 10K already for this month.
How far along do you think you'd be right now if you never jumped into the program?
I'm not sure. I don't know where I would be right now if I stuck with. I mean, I don't know if I stuck like with the program I was at now. I don't know if I would take like a lot of action just because I would just wouldn't really know anything. So I don't know
Mhm.
if I'd have that confidence to just keep going. I feel like I might have tried to switch something and try like a different thing for like making money online.
Dude, that's super common. That's super common. Just that shiny object syndrome. Now, if there's somebody watching this and they're on the fence about joining the Wholesale Underground, would you recommend the program, or what would you have to say to them?
Oh, 100%. I would say that, like, the Wholesale Underground, it just gives you such a deeper understanding of selling on Amazon that you don't really get from YouTube videos to, guys like gurus that are like on like TikTok and Instagram. Like, you just don't get this sort of like understanding anywhere else really, unless you pay $10,000 for like a one-on-one guide with, a guy that's doing 8 million a year. But no, you just have such solid information and you break it down in such an easy way that just makes sense to anybody. And this is a business that anybody can do. Like after starting, I got on social media like Twitter and just started like reaching out and like, communicating with other Amazon sellers. And there's a single mom that started like a year ago and she hit a million in her first 10 months. So, there's anybody,
Wow.
literally anybody can do this. So it's like, it's just a matter of like knowing and doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I always say it's like the simplest business model you can start. Like it's not the easiest. Like none of them are easy. They all require work, but it's like it can't get any simpler. Like we don't do any advertising, we don't do any listing creation, we don't run any ads, we don't do any copy, we don't do none of this complicated marketing or anything like that. And it's like find stuff on the Nike site that's selling for less and go and sell it for more. It's like boom, all done. Like obviously there's a learning curve, but the gist is like super simple.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Now, if you want the exact same mentorship and all of the same information that Logan received in order to help him go from zero to his first 10K month within 90 days, then you want to check out my mentorship program while we still have spots available. It's going to be the first link down below in the description. And this is true one-on-one mentorship. You are working with me directly. This is not something that I outsource to a VA or to some other coach that you've never met before. You are working with me one-on-one, and we are taking an in-depth look at your current business, what you want to build, and how we can get you there as fast as humanly possible. So if you're interested in that, first link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video.